Yeah, I want to dig into something you said there because I think it's around mindset. And that is historically, I think people believe that medication related to alcohol is reserved only for people with serious, deep issues. And it's almost towards the last resort, when
Yeah, right.
recovery is necessary. Let's talk about how to change that mindset, because what you're saying is let's get use of this medication before it becomes a serious problem.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, I think just when we take a step back and look at the way that we address alcohol in the context of our health today, I mean, the system is entirely broken, right? The way that we treat alcohol, which is entirely different from how we treat almost every other health condition, is it's reactive, right? We wait until it becomes a huge problem before we do something about it. That's like if you were looking at kind of like the obesity landscape and you said that we were going to wait until you got a diagnosis for diabetes before we started to focus on exercise and diet and lifestyle. Right? It's how we treat alcohol today. We wait until you have this kind of, rock bottom moment before we do something about it. And that's just totally broken. Today the treatment landscape, because of this kind of reactive nature, is overly clinical, it's impersonal, it's cold, and it's not approachable, right? It's really hard to have that first conversation with your doctor or your PCP. And so therefore you push it out and you don't get the help that you need because this entire system is kind of built around stigma and a misunderstanding of kind of alcohol use as like a moral failing rather than kind of a biochemical challenge. And again, it's one size fits all. It's binary. It's you have a drinking problem and you need to go totally sober. And for many people, that's just not an appealing reality, and therefore they defer or don't get the level of care that they need. We built Sunnyside Med to create an entirely new path that basically takes each of those broken components of the current way that we treat alcohol in our health and in our society and flip them on its head. And so the main thing that we're really focused on is proactive care. Right? We want to help folks on the front lines of starting to think about drinking in the context of their health, not 10 years later, not when it's become this huge issue. And with medication specifically, to answer your question, this medication is safe, it's proven effective, and there's no reason why it can't be prescribed for someone who is earlier on the spectrum of alcohol use and looking to make a proactive change. The misperceptions here are abound and are also kind of concentrated within the primary care population that like doctors have typically not prescribed naltrexone because they have not fully understood the benefit risk profile and how safe it is ultimately to get into the hands of folks who are feeling challenged with their drinking. So we give medication earlier is kind of a key part of our protocol. And we trust you to kind of self-identify as that need of kind of wanting to kind of get help, right? It doesn't require rock bottom. It doesn't require, intervention or rehab. It's about you having an inkling that you could use a little bit of extra help to make that change. We've built a system that is friendly and approachable, right? So it's like, this is not cold and clinical. We have not sacrificed clinical rigor here. So we have an amazing care team. This is doctor prescribed medication and you're getting access only if eligible through through a doctor review from a licensed clinician. But we're making a care experience that is friendly and on your terms, not that feels judgmental and stigmatized and cold, but that is welcoming and warm, very kind of akin to the Sunnyside brand overall. We focus on the science, but we manage alcohol not as a moral failing, but rather a biochemical and kind of psychology-based challenge that we can use the latest neuroscience, the latest in kind of behavior change and cognitive behavioral therapy, as well as the medications available to us to help people make a change. And there's nothing to be ashamed of if medication is something you want to add here, right? It's the earlier you get started is something to celebrate because you're preventing, the kind of long-term negative consequences that we know that alcohol overuse can bring if not managed. And it's accessible, it's discreet, it's 100% online, medication delivered discreetly to your door. It's an opportunity to get access in a way that doesn't require a face-to-face conversation with a doctor who maybe also treats your family and kind of has known you for decades. And it's focused on balance, right? It's not an abstinence only protocol. It's a moderation first protocol for folks that are looking to make a change, but not necessarily cut alcohol out completely. And in all of these ways that we're kind of rethinking the way that we deliver care, I believe that that's allowing us to open the door to millions more people who could really benefit from medication coupled with proven behavior change, which has kind of been the cornerstone of the Sunnyside program up until this point.